Hey guys, Jona here. I'm back in Spain, a place called Obramat, a massive hardware store. I think it used to be called Bricomart. I'm going in there to have a look for quirky tools. You know how we do it. Interesting, unusual tools, tools we've not seen before back in the UK. Let's go inside and have a look. Deals right out the gate. Just come in the door. Some deals. Look at that. All the drill bits and everything, all nice and organised. Oh bloody hell, even the hand tools. That has to be one of my favourite things, that. You've got a lot of backhoe. Wasn't expecting to see some nice brands. So they do things a bit different here to make sure they squeeze as much in as possible. They've got everything up top displayed so you can see it all. And they've got even more stuff down here. They've just got one bolted to the front so you can see it. And then a box behind. That's well cool. French form hammers. Popular down here too. Nothing too unusual. It's got like a bit more of a builder's merchant's vibe. Definitely more tricky to see what's going on in here. It's harder to pick out the weird stuff. Medded. Hey, Spanish made. Nice to see them here. Can't see any of the Medded tape measures. Medded level. So that's what Medded do. Fair amount of Stanley Pro Stack stuff. Pro Stack drawers. Got some Bosch L boxes and whatnot. But usually there's one or two brands that I've not seen before, but not here. It's interesting to see that Stanley is the main brand. Not seen. That's the first little bit of DeWalt I've seen. But everything else is Stanley Fat Max. And like you say, you've got the Pro Stacks up there. And good thing, I've already got a load of Pro Stack toolboxes, so I don't have to buy that and take that home. Yeah, I've got a bit of DeWalt to be fair. A bit of everything. A little bit of DeWalt, a little bit of Bosch, a little bit of Makita. And then Steyr. Heard of that one. A few more screws and fixings than we do. Look at that. Floor to ceiling. That's how it's supposed to look. Some nice chisels made in Spain. Urko. I think we maybe get a set of them. I was hoping to get something Medded, but I didn't find anything. Maybe it's just pencils. I mean, they're interesting, aren't they? Carpenter's pencils. They're like red one side, blue the other. I'm not sure why you need that. In Japan, OLFA knife. Pretty good here, isn't it? I've seen them before, but they've been more expensive. That's like £9 here. Ah, you've got the French form Medded level. Why don't they have that in the torpedo? Because then I'll get that. Typical. That won't fit in the box to ship home. That's weird, a box of crimping tools there and then know where that they came from. That's a nice quality scraper. That feels nice. A couple of uses. I could get one of those too. What is that? That is interesting, isn't it? Seen one of them before. That'll be one of the rare tools I pick up. I can't really decipher what it is. Oh, this is for doing the clips on tongue and groove board. I don't need one, but that's pretty cool, isn't it? Don't do that very often. But putting like hidden clips on wooden flooring. Quirky tools everywhere. Right, so that's it for Obramat. I found a few interesting bits, a couple of Spanish-made tools, but I think we need to find another store, find a few other bits. Let's go. But before we get to that, let's have a word from our sponsor. And today's sponsor is FlexiSpot. They've sent me this E7 Pro standing desk and it's an absolute beast. It was very easy to assemble, but it's very, very solid. And a standing desk is great to help with your posture, standing. I'm very tall, so having a desk that can work to my height, being 6'2", is pretty good. At full height, it's 129, and that is 129 centimeters off the ground. So that's pretty good. But even when you sat down, you can set it to your perfect height so you're nice and comfortable and you're not straining your back. So if you don't have an adjustable height desk already, the sit-stand desk nowadays is a bit of a game changer. Being able to stand up and operate. And when you're cutting foam, sometimes it's a lot easier to lift your workpiece up to you than trying to crouch down over it. So bit of a back saver. This desk is an absolute monster in terms of the load capacity. It can lift 450 pounds, which comfortably lifts me up. But I think this is a pretty good test. If you ever decide you want to sit on your bench and take it to the limit, it's quite, it's not a problem for a FlexiSpot desk. So it's built to last, and a 15-year guarantee tells you all you need to know about the quality. FlexiSpot stand by their desk. They also give you a free 30-day exchange. So if you buy it and it's not quite the right size or you're not quite happy with it, you've got 30 days to send it back, and it's guaranteed for 15 years. They have got loads of sizes and different colors. I went for black. I thought it suited the shadow foam vibe the best. And I've gone for an absolute monster of a desk. This will only just fit in my office, but it's 1.8 meters by 800 That is a lot of space for foam cutting, so we might see this in a future video. It's nice and chunky too, so it feels a lot more solid than normal desks. This is like 25mm thick, and it's not like a hollow melamine. It feels really weighty, like a proper solid bit of wood. So that's my review of the FlexiSpot desk. Pretty beastie thing. If you want one, use our code on screen to get $50 off, and we'll put the link in the description. So go and grab yourself a FlexiSpot desk. If you ever need a lift during the day, get a FlexiSpot desk. Thanks very much, FlexiSpot, for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it.
Let's go shopping.
So I've come to Leroy Merlin. I've been to one of these before in France, but we're in Spain now, Barcelona. Maybe they'll have different stuff. I'm in an underground car park. The store's above me. Let's go and have a look. Right, let's find the tools. So we have done a Leroy Merlin before when we were visiting France. Leroy Merlin being a French store, made sense to visit it first in France. I wonder if it's any different here in Spain. Quite happily walked around this store for a long time. Lovely and cool. Obramat was definitely a bit of a roaster. Looks like it's no different here. Popular one. I'd say it's a bit cheaper here. Full kit's €80, 75 quid. I got the feeling it was a bit cheaper in Obramat. Ah, look, they do have a little bit of FACOM here represented, but they've got Bellotta as well, in the Spanish. Electrical holder for the bare necessities. I did like these Dexter Pro and the French Leroy Merlin, good quality. It's nice to see like they have different options, even in the hardware store on their own brand. Interesting, isn't it? Like a knife with a blade guard. Why would you not just slide it back into the knife? It's a fixed knife. For those who want it fixed, don't maybe trust a sliding mechanism, but then it's got a cover that pops out. A highlight of the last Leroy Merlin, the old double-ended knife. Good to see that again. And then the French mole grips. Interesting though, back we've got a version. Back on mole grips with the quirky shape. We've already got a pair of those though. I think we've got a winner here. The Fiskars Pro Drywaller's knife. That is a winner. That is really, really cool. That's a jab saw and a knife in one. That I think has to be one of the best multi-tools I've found in a while. That is truly a really good multi-tool. Oh, it's nice when I find the first thing. I look through a lot of tool stores and sometimes I think I've seen everything now. Just as you think you've seen everything, Drywaller's knife. There's something cool. We looked at a lot of the laser liner stuff. In Germany, they had a wheelbarrow full of the volt sticks. But this is like a little compact multimeter. Being an electrician, I do quite like having a small multimeter. I can just pack away somewhere and I always have it on hand. And I do rate the laser liner stuff. Definitely got a huge range of stuff. There was old stocks in this store though. We've got the long Dexter pencils as well that they have in France. A little Spanish product, Wuto. That's a punch, and then a little auger. Dexter Pro, and what is it? That is a Kubrick box, made in Poland. So we have inserts for that too. Dexter Pro, same as the Trend, similar price too. Don't think we've got space for that one, but we do have a Trend version of it, so maybe we can put some inserts in that. Another branded tie, gear tie. Funny how it's American. I never saw that in America, but they're out here in Spain. Got even more down here. Cable clip, gear ties in different colours, gear ties in different lengths. That's a cool kit. What's strange about it, even though it's own brand, they've got all separate handles and then they've even got separate individually sold screwdriver bits. There's only 10. How cool is that? €12. It's alright, isn't it? I think I've seen that before though. That's something you don't see very often. Get yourself a little mini bellows. Zorro. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Not even in the tool section now. Like a Spanish made bellows. €32. Don't think I need one of those, but that's definitely a Spanish tool you don't see in the UK. is something you don't really see. I either look like a wooden extension lead and then cable. So if you want to put like a nice cable on your lamp, you've got a plug, switch, and then obviously you can change it. So rather than just having a white flex, you've got all these different versions. You can have a bit of a bronze, you can even have a rope look, you have a rope finish cable. Never seen that before. Pretty cool, isn't it? That's it for Obramat and Leroy Merlin. I've got a load of stuff now, a load of cool stuff. Let's get back to the workshop and have a look through it, and I'll go through my top picks.
Let's go home.
Right, so I'm fresh back from Spain. Didn't have time to get a tan, but I did have time to find some tools, as always. And I didn't just go to Obramat. As you saw, I went to Leroy Merlin. There wasn't as much stuff in Obramat as I'd expected. The store was massive, and it was quite interesting the way it was laid out. They have like all of the tools on a board high above the aisle, and then everything below. So it's a bit different, but I couldn't really find much unusual. I found a couple of bits though. I think I got 3 or 4 from Obramat. Also found a pretty cool shop called GiFi or GiFi, and I got a pretty cool bonus from there, a bit of a giveaway, so that's exciting. I went to Leroy Merlin, and Leroy Merlin in Spain is different to Leroy Merlin in France. They had different stuff, and I managed to find a couple of banging tools and interesting bits from there too. So we've got to get into it, and I can talk you through my top 5 picks from Obramat plus Leroy Merlin, and I've got a great bonus for the giveaway, but I'll show you that at the end. I also found a toolbox. I didn't buy it because I already had it. So Leroy Merlin have a Dexter brand, that's their own brand, and they had this exact same toolbox made by Kubrick, but with a Dexter logo on it. So I thought no point shipping that back, but it's interesting to know because we have inserts already for this box. So that means we've got inserts for the Dexter version. So I've got some shadow foam inserts as always. I've got the tote organizer from Trend. I've got some 50mm orange. I thought we'd go for orange for the Obramat color, and I'll lay the inserts there. And as we go through the tools, I'll put a bit of a layout together, and then I'll show you how easy it is to cut shadow foam at the end. And just as another note, before we get into the top 5, I'm back in Europe in 2 weeks. So I'm over there for another reason in, I think it's the 2nd week of April, and I'll be going through Belgium and the Netherlands. So I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for some quirky tools. So if you've got any hot tips, any cool tool shops, anything you think I should go and have a look at, maybe make a video around, let me know in the comments, because it'd be great to get some insider scoop on where is good to look at. In Belgium and the Netherlands, Luxembourg, even top of Germany, that's the area I'll be in. So anywhere around there that you think has got some quirky tools to go and look at, let me know. And if you do drop a comment, you will be entered into the giveaway, which is a banger. I've not showed you that yet. It's in these bags, but it's a really good one. So make sure you get a comment down there, subscribe to the channel. That way you're going to be entered even before you've seen it, so you'll be well ahead of the game. So let's get into my top 5 picks from Obramat and a bit of Leroy Merlin, starting with number 5. So number 5 on the list, starting off strong with a knife from a new brand on me. I've not heard of this one, OLFA. And the thing that caught my eye, packaging's quite bright, but also made in Japan. I didn't expect to see Japanese-made tools and a Japanese-made knife in Spain, so I thought that was a pretty cool thing to pick up. And it's got something special about it. It says the originator, so 1956 these guys set up, made in Japan, which again, that alone made it quirky for me. And it's also got this little tail on it here, which says built-in carpet tucker. So pretty interesting. You know, it's Japanese-made, but it's got English text in a Spanish store. Feels quite nice quality. Quite an interesting, like, plastic this. It doesn't feel like normal cheap plastic. It's like stainless steel blade sheath, allows for a deeper cut, built-in carpet tucker. So essentially it's got this little locking wheel on it which you can like turn, and then it doesn't click into place. To be fair, I have seen knives like this before. So rather than just like clicking, you can have it at any length you want, and then you can lock it. But the thing that really stands out to me is it's got this like extra support here. So if you've ever used a snap-off craft knife, usually the blade just pokes out and you can snap it quite easily. Obviously it's meant to snap off to get like a sharp tip on it, but you can kind of like ping it off. And if you wanted to cut something, you know, to cut through foam, for example, you need quite a lot of blade extended, and you put any sideways force on it, you would snap it off. But this has got this like extended piece of support material here to make sure the blade doesn't snap, which is pretty nice. It can lock in any position. It's got the little carpet tucker, so you can see what it's designed for. I don't think most carpet fitters use a craft knife like this, but hey ho, I think they usually use like a Stanley knife in the UK, and maybe like a hook Stanley knife, but pretty cool. Have you ever come across the OLFA tool brand made in Japan? I don't have any Japanese made tools, but that's a nice one to add to the collection. So that is number 5. Let me show you number 4. Right, number 4 on the list is some chisels, but these were made in Spain, which I was on the lookout for Spanish-made tools while I was in Spain. You'd expect so, wouldn't you? This brand is called Urko, and they just had a nice feel about them, and they were made in Spain, which I was quite happy with. And on top of that, I also found a Spanish-made scraper, which for me just groups nicely with the chisels as a nice little made in Spain lot. So let me use my new knife. cut a few of these chisels out of the packaging. They've got a nice weight to them, and they've also got this little metal band around the top, so if you're using a mallet with them, you don't split them. But I don't have any wooden handled chisels, and I just thought these are Spanish made, picked up from Spain, was a good little pickup. Not particularly quirky. I've got another nice set of chisels, but they are plastic Irwin standard set, so this is a bit more special. I was thinking these could be the fine carpentry chisels, ones that you just always keep sharp. You don't risk damaging these ones using it on a scruffy material where you might hit a little nail or something. They're a lovely nice chisel, and they weren't a bad price either. They didn't have a chisel set, so I literally bought 5 sizes in order just to make a standard set of chisels, but they are a lovely nice handle on them, nice grip, nice and solid, nice and sharp as well. And then the scraper is by a brand called Pentrillo, and again, it's just a nice wooden handle tool. We did a full wooden handled wooden toolkit video. You can go and check it out here. I found some amazing tools in that one, like a nice crick wooden level and a couple of other bits. There weren't any new chisels in that kit. I think we had a couple of old ones from an antique shop. I think I could really start putting together a really amazing wooden toolkit with some of these new additions. This is, again, it's quite a nice multi-purpose scraper. It's not just your standard solid scraper. This is like the most common, most useful size, like a 3-inch scraper, but it's also got the roller cleaner on it, and pipe scraper, nail remover, crack opener, and roller cleaner. So that was my number 4 pick, and it's a bit of a bundle, and they'll all be going nicely in this insert. It's a good job I've got 2 of them, because that, I'll do those top and tail. They'll look great in there, and then I'll put my scraper there. That's 1 insert already filled up. So that is number 4. Let me show you number 3. So number 3 on the list is an item from Leroy Merlin, and it's their own brand, Dexter. I did buy a Dexter set from the Leroy Merlin in France, but it was the insulated screwdriver set, which I really liked. Great little set, really great value, this Dexter stuff, and they've got a really quite an impressive range of tools and choice. You know, most of the time these own brands have like the bare minimum, just like the very, very basic stuff, whereas Dexter had quite a lot of novel, innovative tools and quirky little sets. So this really did catch my eye. A mechanical screwdriver set, so it's not insulated, it's just like a traditional screwdriver set, but oh, I'm destroying the box. But it just looked interesting to me. So we've got 1 handle, and then rather than just having like the 1/4-inch bit, which would go in the end of most like bit drivers, this is a full length screwdriver shaft with 2 ends. And what that would, I mean, obviously the first time I'm looking at it, but what that gives you is essentially a more traditional screwdriver that can get into narrow little slots and screwdriver slots. A bit driver usually has got the bit and then quite a big holder, so it makes it quite kind of a thick screwdriver head. So this looks ideal. They do hold in there really nicely. And once it's in there, it's just like any other screwdriver. And you've got a nice little pouch. Yeah, that's pretty smart. This is a really interesting set, I think. It's far more useful to have this on hand than like a bit driver set, because as I've said, bit drivers, you can be fooled into thinking it's such a great handy tool because you've got maybe 40 bits in a little holder and then a bit driver, but it kind of, a lot of situations it doesn't work, whereas this will work in any situation a normal screwdriver work, and you get a lot more purchase on it as well. This is the kind of tool you'd expect to see from Weir or like one of the main brands. So to see it in an own brand, Dexter, is pretty cool. I like that set a lot. That is really, really cool. So there we go. That is my number 3 pick, and I am definitely happy. It looked good in the packaging, but it's even better in the pouch. So happy days. That is my number 3 pick. Let me show you number 2, which is also from Leroy Merlin. Number 2 is number 2 because I don't have one. So that makes it extra quirky because I don't have one of these in my toolkit, and it is Coping Saw by Wuto. And this too is made in Spain, made in Barcelona. Nice wooden handled tool, and I also got a few other bits from Wuto to go with it and build it into a little bit of a bundle. We've got some Coping Saw blades, we've got some multi-material ones, and then we've got some for wood. And I also picked up a bradawl, but they just call it a punch, and they've also got an auger too for drilling little holes. And again, it's kind of, they caught my eye because they're made in Spain, and that's what I was on the lookout for. Spanish made tools, Spanish brands that I've not heard of. So this Wuto brand here really did tick all the boxes on that front. And again, I'm always looking for tools that I don't have. I don't want to be buying loads of stuff that is just going to sit dead in a drawer. Saying that, there is a risk these will sit dead in the drawer because I don't do a lot of coping. I'm coping. I mean, we're all coping. We're all in a world where, you know, we're all just about, we're just trying to cope. We're just trying to cope, aren't we? But I'm not doing much coping. Whether or not it's a t-shirt already or whether or not we need to make it a t-shirt, I think Matt Estley might have a Just Trying to Cope t-shirt. And if he hasn't, we'll have to try and pinch that and put it on a t-shirt. We'll put a picture in, but it's a picture of that on a t-shirt and it says, can't cope. I think his says can't cope. Right, yeah, this is pretty cool. Super easy to install a blade, and that's what the advantage of coping saws is. You can kind of like, if you're doing really intricate woodwork, you can drill a hole, put the coping saw through it, and then kind of cut all around the corners. So I didn't have one of those in my tool set, and now I do. So I've got a Wuto coping saw. We've also got the punch or the bradawl, which is a pretty smart little thing. Wuto from 1947. So they've got a lot of legacy, these kind of Spanish brands, same as the chisels. And we've got an auger as well, which I didn't have. So there we go. That is number 2 on my list. A couple of Spanish-made tools, which I love that. I feel like you can't go to Spain and not try and buy some Spanish-made tools. So Wuto, I'm happy with that. Brilliant. And that brings me to my number 1 pick, which is pretty special. I'm pretty excited by this tool. It was a pretty cool tool. I think might even live in my tool pouch. Let me show you my top pick. Not quite from Obramat. This one came from Leroy Merlin. Let me show you. So my number 1 pick, as I say, is from Leroy Merlin, and it's a tool from Fiskars. Now, I've never seen this before, even though I have seen the Fiskars tools in a few different stores. I've even bought a Fiskars tool before. I think it was a pruning saw from possibly Leroy Merlin in France. But this thing, it was the last one in the store, which is a good sign. It probably shows you it's a pretty popular thing. And it is a utility knife with a genuinely handy second use. I do buy a lot of utility knives, and I'm always interested to find multi-purpose versions, but quite a lot of the time you think the second version, are you really going to use it? Is it going to be that handy? But this is something special. So it's called the Drywaller's knife, and it comes with one of their Carbon Max blades too, which in itself is pretty interesting. It's a standard looking utility blade, but it's made in the USA by Fiskars. They call it the Carbon Max, and it lasts 24 times longer than a normal utility blade. So that is already pretty cool. And you can see it just slides out, locks in place like a standard utility knife. It's got quite a nice, comfortable handle. It's got this metal impact point on the end as well, which they have on the packaging. That is a hammer, so they've designed it solidly enough to be used as like a little bit of a hammer. But then the real impressive thing for me is this. It's got a jab saw built in. So in terms of having it in your pocket, you know, if you're an electrician and you just want to cut in a dry lining box, having a little jab saw there, I think is awesome. I think that is a really, really cool, compact tool. It's not much bigger than a lock utility knife, and it's really comfortable too. So even just as a knife, that is really comfortable. You can get a really nice tight grip on it. You've got a bit of a thumb push here, so you can use that as a decent quality utility knife. Just having the kind of metal point on the end is a pretty good addition. So that is nice already. And the idea that you've got that little jab saw there, which is totally out of the way. You wouldn't even know it was there. It's not impacting the grip or anything, but it just folds out and it locks into place too. And it's a nice quality. That for me was an absolute winner. I thought that is a genuinely useful multi-tool. Some multi-tools, they go for like 8-in-1, 10-in-1, and a lot of the functions are just useless. But this has got 2 core functions that it does really well. Jab saw, it does really well. The knife, it does really well. And it's really solid and comfortable. And then you've got the little benefit of that as well. So that for me is my number 1 pick, and probably one of my favorite picks from Europe. I think at some point I'm gonna have to do a bit of a boil down of all my favorite picks from all the different places, and this would definitely make that list. And that's why you've got to check every tool store and every aisle, because Fiskars, I think, mostly have like gardening shears and gardening tools. So wouldn't really be a brand I'd expect to find a great utility knife from. So that's my number 1 pick, and that is pretty much a layout sorted as well. We're pretty close to having everything organized. I'm glad I got 2 inserts made. Shadow foam inserts come in twin packs, so whatever toolbox you have, whether it's one of the major brand leaders like a Milwaukee Packout or a DeWalt T-Stack or a Makita MacTrack or a Tough Built, maybe you've just got the Tough Built box from the UK, from B&Q, whatever box you've got, we've got inserts that fit perfectly inside it. Now this trend organizer here is sold in the UK, but it's also sold at Leroy Merlin with a Dexter badge. I had a look at that while I was over there. So on shadowfoam.com, you can get inserts in one of 10 colors. When we find a new box, we digitally map the inside and we make an insert that perfectly fits in there. So it takes that job away from you. You end up with a nice blank canvas that you can organize all your tools. And I do like inserts in clear lid organizers because you can see through the lid exactly what's in there, and we sell them in twin packs. So this being a 100mm deep box is going to fit 2 layers perfectly. And then I can save the totes for organizing me toolbox drawers or something else in the future. Don't throw anything away. So that is me box. I can put together a pretty cool layout. I usually top and tail chisels just to make sure that I can fit the most in there. I do the same with screwdrivers. And then we've got the scraper and the knife. So that's a rough layout. I'll cut all of that in and come back to you when it's all done. And when it comes to cutting, it's just cut around the shapes, peel back. You've seen me do it loads of time before, so we'll speed through that. We'll do a time lapse of me cutting all these tools in. And then we'll do the giveaway, which is another tool, not on the list, but it's a pretty cool one. I found this in a totally different shop called GiFi or GiFi, still not sure what it was called. They had some pretty unusual items there, including pepper spray by the till, which was pretty nuts. And talking about nuts, I also got something called nuts, but I'll show you those after I've cut all of this in. So let me get my glove on and start cutting. we go, that is all of the foam cut, and I've got the finger pulls as well. Not much tools in that one, but this one's pretty stacked. I like it. And it's really easy to cut shadow foam. If you've not seen it by now, all you do is place the tools wherever you go on our multi-layered foam. You cut around the items, cut around the tools. Once you've cut around the item, you take it out of the way, you cut down a little bit deeper, and then you peel back layers. You can go as deep or as shallow as you need. So you can see with the chisels, I've gone about 3 layers down there. And then for these little shafts with the screwdriver, I've just peeled back 1 layer. So everything sits nice and flush with the surface, and it all looks great. Next thing, stick the inserts in the box. This one is the base layer because everything is cut flush to the surface. And then this lovely one can sit on the top. And if I close the lid, you can still see all your tools through the top, which is pretty awesome. So that's all of the tools. That's the shadow foam. Everything you need to cut shadow foam comes in one of our cutting kits. Now these come free with most orders at shadowfoam.com, and shadowfoam.com is the best place to get shadow foam for any toolbox, no matter what toolbox you've got. If it's the trend system like this, the compact storage system, the same as the Dexter Pro model from the Leroy Merlin that I mentioned before, inserts for every single box are available at shadowfoam.com. The best prices, the best offers, and the most availability. So go and check it out. We'll put a link in the description. And that leads me to GiFi or GiFi. Still don't know. I want to say GiFi because it just looks like Wi-Fi. I got a pretty cool thing from this place. This place was, it's like a cross between B&M Bargains and like a hunting shop, I don't know. And I had a little bit of a look around, see what was in there, and I found this thing, which for me looked like a quirky tool. I've not seen it before. It's got the GiFi logo on it, and I just thought this is a cool tool to have in your pocket. Let me show you what caught my attention. It's a slender little black case, nice and small, quite nondescript, quite discreet. Inside, we've got a standard calculator, but the thing that really caught my attention, there's a little stylus here that pulls out, and then when you're doing some sums and you're just trying to work out stuff, you've got like a little notepad here, and you can just write like, you know, remember the numbers. It was a 382. My little ones have got one of these, and it's literally just a little drawing pad that you just press the button and it resets it. So you can see there, 2 times 2 equals 4, and then you press the button, resets it, and then you can just go, if you're doing some calculations and you just need to remember a number, I need to remember that, 882, you just write it there, you can carry on doing your math. I need to remember that number, it goes into a third, whatever it is, and then you can click it on a lock, so no matter what you press, it won't lose. If you close the lid, it's still all written there, your notes. What a cool little gadget that is. I think that is a pretty good one to have in the dashboard of the van, ready for doing some workings out next time. And I didn't just get one for me. As I mentioned earlier, this is the giveaway. I got 5 extra. I thought that is a quirky tool if I've ever seen one. It's a novel little invention. I got 5, and you know what to do. Drop a comment down below this video. Let me know any places to visit in Belgium and Netherlands, if you know of anywhere around that area that's quirky little place to stop off. Any of these tools caught your eye? Did you like the Fiskars drywall knife and utility knife in one? That was a pretty big winner for me. Let me know in the comments, and all of the comments, regardless of where you are in the world, are entered into the giveaway. We do a random draw of any comment, and then we'll ship out one of these to yourselves. So it's dead easy, don't miss out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Make sure you like the video. One remaining thing to do, and it's pretty nuts, or at least I think it's pretty nuts, and that is this thing. It's a nuts bar by Nestle. I'm always on the lookout for things that catch my eye that are a bit different that we don't have in the UK, and everyone knows Nestle, but I've never seen a nuts bar. So I thought, well, that's something to bring back to the UK and give it a try. Why don't we have a nuts bar? We have a Snickers bar, so is this like a Snickers? No, it's not like a Snickers. It's like nougat. So it's like a little bit of a double decker mixed with a Snickers, mixed with a Mars bar in one. Pretty good. Nuts bar. Have you ever heard of a nuts bar? I don't think I'll be rushing back for one, but it's interesting nonetheless. There we go. Threw in a little taste test as well. What a bonus. Make sure you get entered into this giveaway. Get your shadow foam inserts at shadowfoam.com. Thanks very much for watching the video, and we'll see you next time.